Hi guys, Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. I am here today with a pack with me video. A lot of you have shown interest in kind of learning what the things that I find at the thrift and at the bins sell for, how long they take to sell, so on and so forth. And this is just a really good way of me actually getting my work done while sharing that information with you. But before we get started, if you have not yet, if you like thrifting, if you like reselling, if you like vintage finds that you find at the thrift store, don't forget to hit subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, let's get into the packing. We've got quite a bit of stuff to get out the door today. So first order of business here is this super adorable pair of Seychelles shoes. These were actually my own, and I bought these at a cute little boutique in Park City, and they are 7.5, and at the time my feet were an 8.5, but I loved them so much that I bought them. And I feel like we have all learned this very hard lesson at some point. You just can't fit a square peg into a round hole. I'm not a 7.5. I think I wore these once. I was in excruciating pain the entire time. So I put them up. It is time to move them along. I've had these listed for probably over a year. I just feel like the demand for like dressier shoes like this has gone down since COVID. You just don't see, by the way, USPS provides shoe boxes for anybody who sells shoes. You can order them, they'll ship them to you completely free. It's amazing. So yeah, any kind of dressier shoes that I have had have sat a little bit more. Things like Birkenstock sell really well, Uggs. But I'm really happy to get these out the door. I had these listed for $25. They were probably, when I bought them, like $150, and I think I had a deal on them. But I had them listed for $25. I've had them listed for a while. I got an offer for $20, which I gladly accepted. I was happy to move these on and get them, back into circulation. So just gonna kind of estimate my cost as zero. My profit on this was $16. So super happy to get these on their way back to use. They're super cute shoes, and they're Seychelles, which is a great brand. Next up here, I've got, this is a really special piece for me. I don't know if anybody here watched my vintage haul, but my sweet neighbor gave me a couple hats of hers to sell, and this was her little brown derby. As she said, in Los Angeles, everybody needs to have a brown derby. I don't know if you can see that against my shirt. And I'm helping her kind of rehome some of her stuff. She has the most incredible collection of stuff. I'm gonna stuff this hat to make sure it holds its shape. So she had informed me, Nellie's been married a few times, but she said that she wore this hat after, particularly not great marriage. She had worn this hat to the lawyer's office to initiate divorce proceedings. So this is getting shipped out with a lot of love in the original bag. To a gal, I actually went back and forth with her. It's super fun. She is planning a When Harry Met Sally costume, and I didn't catch it when I saw it, but this is like the exact hat that Meg Ryan was wearing. So this is gonna go on to live another happy lifetime, and that makes me very happy, and I'm sure that makes Nellie very happy. So I had this listed for $48, and my sidekick sent out an offer for $43, which she did accept. Bringing the profit on this, obviously there's no like cogs, but bringing the profit on this to $32.38, which all of course goes to Ellie. So next up, we've got a couple sales here from Depop, and first is this absolutely adorable Free People top. This is called the Wishful Moments top. And it's this beautiful black, kind of breezy, blousey top with these little ladder stitch details. This sat for a little bit longer than I anticipated it to. I think I was probably overpriced a little bit on it. I had it listed for $45, which would explain it had a lot of interest, but it just, didn't have any bites. But I, it sat in the closet for about 2 months. Now's the time to move it, with it being black. This is very kind of witchy and boho. So I got an offer on it for $30, which I accepted. It was time to move this on. And this one, this is one of the cautionary tales of, do what you can to keep your costs low as you're sourcing. This one had a COG of about $7. It was like $6.99. So that cuts into profit quite a bit, right? When you're dealing with the fees from the platform, you're dealing with your COGs, like the difference between $7 and $2, if you're doing that over 1,000 items per year, like that adds up significantly. That's a couple grand. But ultimately, I'm glad to move this on. My profit on this ends up being $18.31. So again, not what I was hoping to get on this, but happy that it's going to a new home. It really is a gorgeous shirt. It's very, 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 very free people, very boho, very witchy. It's gonna look great this time of year. And off it goes. Next up, I have this cute little oatmeal, lightweight sweatshirt from Nike. I think this is a Nike gym piece. I think it's super cute. Nike always sells pretty quick. This was only in my shop for I think about 3 weeks. And again, this one actually sold through Mercari. I sell on all of the platforms. I haven't really noticed any trends of what sells better in which places, with the exception of Depop. Depop definitely has a style that sells better there. But yeah, so this is a cute little lightweight sweatshirt. It's a great color. It's a size medium, so it's good size. I had it listed for $28. Again, I think I might have been a little high on that. But I got an offer for $21, which I gladly accepted. I did get this out the door. I don't think I expected much more than $20 on this. I always price to allow room for negotiation. So my profit on this ended up being $16.58, which was great. This was a bins find, so I got it for $1. The benefit of sourcing things really inexpensively at the bins or at a thrift outlet or on a sale day is that you have, the option without hesitation to accept a lower price if it ends up sitting. That Free People blouse is a perfect example of something that I thought would move super quickly. It didn't. The cost on it was kind of high, at least by my standards. And a month ago, I would have really hesitated to take that offer because my costs on it were so high. So this is another perfect example of, do what you can to keep your costs low. I know that the bins are not for everybody. I know that some bins locations are legitimately hostile. But look for sale days at your thrift store. Look for yard sales. You can often make, great deals at places like that. Next up here, I've got another Depop sale, and this is a cute little mock turtleneck from French Connection. French Connection is one of those brands that I don't source all too often. Let me hit that real quick. Let's make sure that it is completely lint-free. This is a little merino blend mock neck, super classic sweater. French Connection, I don't pick it up all that often, and it doesn't pull in a ton of money when you sell it, but the quality is always really nice. So I do love moving items like this, especially when it's a perfect closet staple. Everybody in the world should have a perfect fitting black turtleneck in their closet. It is something that is worth spending the money on in terms of an investment piece. It is something that will never be out of style. And I'm happy to be getting this to a new home. This one I had listed for $28. And I had it cross-listed on all the platforms, and it came through as a full price sale on Depop. which I do love. You know, Depop is fantastic because their fees are lower than Poshmark. You know, obviously I sell significantly less on there, and the styles I can sell there are a little bit more limited, but I'm always happy when a sale goes through there, especially a full price sale. So this one sold for $28. I had it in the store for about 3 weeks. It was a pretty quick turnaround. And my profit on this ended up being $22.56. So that's a pretty good profit on a quick sale, a great closet staple. And you know, I'll be keeping my eyes out for some more French Connection stuff. It's a brand I forget about a lot, but their stuff is always really nice. So next up, now we're into the Poshmark sales. This is a little Nike Pro kind of base layer. I don't want to call it a base layer because I don't think that's what it's made for, but it does remind me of the Under Armour Heat gear, if you remember that. It's just what you saw all over the ski resorts as base layers. But I think this was made to be worn for like football players. It's kind of heavier weight. It is a 2XL, which is a great size. I really thought that this was something else when I bought it, so it's one of those, like, I was gonna be happy to take 10 or 15 bucks for it when it did sell, but I knew it would sell. It is Nike, you know, football season is now, right now. So it's Nike Pro Combat, so I think that's their like heaviest weight version of this kind of top. So anyway, I had this listed for $22. It's in great shape. Again, it's a 2XL, so it's a good size. My sidekick sent out a $19 offer that was accepted, so I was super pleased about that. Again, you know, I was going to be excited to get 10 or 15 on this, so I'm real happy with a $19 offer. This one did have a cost of $2.50. This was from one of my bins locations that is pay by weight. And my profit on this ended up being $10.68. Again, something that I am just happy to move on out the door, get back into use, and call it a day. So Nike's just one of those brands that it kind of doesn't matter what it is. It will sell. It's not necessarily always going to sell for the highest dollar amount, but if you are somebody who is selling and you are looking into things that just move really quickly, pick up some Nike pieces. Next up, I've got this beautiful Lungo Larno. This is actually the second Lungo Larno piece I've sold this week. The first being that beautiful little summer weight blazer. Lungo Larno just makes beautiful linen. And I don't think it's a brand that people really search out for, but I buy a lot of linen, I wear a lot of linen, and in my opinion, this is some of the best feeling linen that I have ever felt. So definitely a brand to be on the lookout for. Again, it's not going to sell for a ton of money, but it will sell quickly. And it does sound like there's a lot of people who really do love this brand. So this is just a simple white classic fit linen shirt with these beautiful like mother of pearl buttons. I had it listed for $29. And it was a full price sale. Now this was something that I sourced at I believe my local Salvation Army, so my cost on this was $5.70. So it's a little higher than I'm used to, but you know, it had sat in my closet for about 2 months, and I was ready to move it on out the door. But again, it was a full price sale. I got what I asked for it, and my profit ended up being $17.50. So super happy about that. Super happy about getting another beautiful linen piece back out into the world. I'm just really pleased with that sale. Come on. And out the door it goes. Now this is one that sold incredibly quickly. I just picked this up, I think last week. It was, I believe, listed for 3 or 4 days before it's sold. It's this cute little mustard short sleeve, all cotton sweater from Anthropologie, and it's like by Anthropologie, that's the brand on it. And I just think it's so cute. It's a nice transitional piece for the season. I love the color. It was, I believe, an extra small. Yeah, it's an extra small, so I'm always happy to move extra smalls quickly. They are kind of a harder brand to move. So super duper pleased about that. Buy Anthro items tend to be about like $98 on their site, which was always kind of like takes me by surprise, you know, exactly how expensive Anthro stuff is, because I find so much of it in the bins. But I had asked $25 for this, and I got an offer from the buyer for $21, which I thought was very fair. And again, super quick sale, and I accepted it. This was a bins find at my location where every item is $1. So my profit on this came to $15.80. Which, you know, if there's anything I can ask for, don't get me wrong, I love buying quality stuff and finding quality stuff, but nothing is better than when I find quality and it moves in 2 or 3 days. Or even when you get those magical moments where you sell something or you list something and it sells same day. That has happened a few times. It's not super common, but next up here, we've got this beautiful, this is called a Peruvian pullover from Soft Surroundings. And I know Soft Surroundings is closing, which is so sad. You know, they have such a devoted following and their stuff is such beautiful quality and it wears and washes so well. I know that there's going to be a lot of people super bummed about this, but you know, believe it or not, you know, for folks in the reselling world, this will probably drive prices up a little bit. This is kind of one of their signature pieces. It's size large. It's this beautiful like aubergine color. It's got kind of a scoop neck with a little bit of a like stitching detail to it. And the pockets down at the bottom, I don't know if you caught that, have like a little ruffle detail on it. So it's a super, super cute sweatshirt. It is a model that is known. If you find one, be sure to put that model name in there. Again, it is called the Peruvian pullover. Because it is something that people search for by name. This was a large, which isn't the best size for Soft Surroundings. Ideally, you want to find 2X, 3X, but large is still a great size to find there. I had this listed for $34, and I got an offer from somebody who was a repeat buyer. So, you know, I wanted to make sure that, you know, she gets a good deal on these things because she's a very good buyer. She comes back again and again. So she sent me an offer for $26, which I gladly accepted from her. Super happy to be getting her this beautiful pullover. It is just gorgeous. It's such a pretty fall color. But ultimately my profit on this, I believe this was a bins find for $2, and my profit ended up being $19.80 on this. Next up, I've got another one from Poshmark here. This is a beautiful sweater by the brand Benedetta B, which I had never heard of, but I felt the quality on this, so I grabbed it. It's this beautiful, like, pinky beige. This is a merino, I think it's a merino cashmere blend sweater. I mean, does it get much more luxe than this? It feels a little bit more substantial than a cashmere sweater, but with that, a little bit warmer. So it's got these beautiful little knitted details into the cuffs and to the shoulders. I didn't know the brand, so I just grabbed it because the quality, and it had quite a bit of interest in it. So definitely a Bolo brand, Benedetta B. It's made in Italy, I believe, and the quality is just out of this world. I always love finding these little sleeper brands that, you know, I've never heard about. It's kind of the fun part about this is every day is different. and I'm constantly learning. You know, new brands are coming in, old brands are showing up. And the more we all know, right? Like the less of these items end up in landfills or getting sold overseas for whatever. So super happy to get this guy out the door. I had it listed for $35. So I had this listed for 3 or 4 weeks. And I had it listed for $35. This was another repeat buyer. She sent me a offer for $25, which I gladly accepted. Again, repeat buyer. She's bought from me multiple times, so I want to make sure that I keep her happy. Profit on that ended up being just about $19 after fees and whatnot. So super happy about that. Next up is this really pretty oatmeal colored shirt from Torrid. I love that it's got that little pin tuck detail. This is just so flattering on the bust. This little pin tuck detail, it's a baby doll silhouette. It's made of super lightweight flowing. I believe this is like a lyocell. You know, Torrid always sells really, really well for me. This is a size 2, so 2X. Super cute, in great condition. This was a bins find for me. This is one of those cases where, you know, experience helps, because this had a stain on the front. And if doing this has taught me one thing, it's how to remove just about any stain safely for the fabric. And, you know, one little pre-treat and one quick wash, and this was good as new and back on its way, you know. So it's a garment that was literally like saved from the trash bin. And it's super cute. Like it's a cute little top. And it's a good basic. It's a good like closet staple. So hopefully she has lots of opportunities to wear it. So this one I had for sale for $28. And my sidekick sent an offer for $23, which she accepted. I had it for about 3 weeks. It was listed for about 3 weeks, and my profit on this ended up being, I'm sorry, this was I think a $2 or $3 purchase. But my profit on this ended up being $15.38. I'm happy to move that on out the door. All these little small sales add up. Next up, I've got this North Face hoodie. Now, anything with a big kind of spell out logo on the back is a great find. This has that like worn to perfection flop. It's a 2XL. So it's kind of a size that not just guys are looking for, but girls are looking for, girls who like to wear a nice oversized hoodie. But I found this, it was in great shape. Again, the logoing was what ultimately made me buy it. Again, it was at a bin, so the North Face is always kind of a safe purchase anyway. Their stuff is really well made, and I did get my start in Poshmark selling brands like the North Face and Patagonia because I had so much like ski gear. So that might be why this sells so well for me, because I kind of have a reputation for it. But you know, I've heard the same story from a lot of other people. You know, North Face moves, Patagonia is like an automatic buy. If you're lucky enough to find an Arc'teryx in your thrifting journey or in your bins journey, for the love of all things good in this world, buy it. Arc'teryx is so expensive. You will know them by their kind of like skeleton logo. But the North Face is probably the lowest end of all of those brands, but it still sells, it's still expensive, and they still make really beautiful stuff. I think this one's actually going up to Alaska. I always love seeing where these things are going to, especially when they're going to a place like Alaska or Hawaii or, you know, Miami. Like I'm selling linen in the dead of winter. I'm like, oh, right, it's going to Miami. That makes sense. So this guy I had for sale for $32, and my sidekick sent out an offer for $28, which was accepted. I had this probably a month or two. I found this like in the dead of summer, but ultimately my profit on this ended up being $19.38. Yeah, headed up to Anchorage. So super happy to get that on its way to a new home. Avalanche. Next up, this is one of my favorite brands to find. This is Barefoot Dreams. And if you don't know Barefoot Dreams, oof, go and get your hands on one of those blankets. You don't have to buy it. They're like $200. They're super expensive, but man, are they soft or are they soft? I don't know what this fabric is, but it's so nice. Actually, I had the woman who purchased this reach out and say like, hey, you know, what is, I don't even know how to sell this. This is one of their little shawl collar cocoon cardigans. I had the woman who bought this reach out and say, hey, like in your opinion, what is the best way to wash this? She's like, I found that with a lot of these kind of specialty fabrics, what's on the tag isn't always the best. And so I sent her back. Now I tend to be pretty aggressively crunchy. You can call me whatever you want. I am an air dryer. I air dry everything. If you get a pair of jeans for me or like a sweater for me and it's a little bit on the stiffer side, it's because I've air dried it. Because it is the best for the textiles almost always. But especially when you're dealing with a synthetic like this, you know, the number one thing to do away with, like in my opinion, my humble opinion, you can take this and run with it, or you can take it and tell me to shove it, is to do away with dryer sheets and fabric softener. It is like the number one enemy of all textiles. It accelerates the breakdown of fibers. It's literally what it's doing when it is softening the fabrics. It is accelerating the breakdown of the fabric, the breakdown of the fibers. So my 2 cents, if you are somebody who still uses, so for this I would say wash cold on delicates and air dry. If you want a little bit more softness, wash it or tumble dry it low with dryer balls. And that is like my number one tip. If people come to me and they want to know kind of how I keep my stuff in such pristine condition, it's because I air dry everything as much as I can. I absolutely positively never use fabric softener. I just, I have incredibly sensitive skin, so any additional chemicals don't do nice things for me. So I use dryer balls instead. I will link the wool dryer balls that I use down below. You can get them from Amazon. There's a billion different options. You can usually find them in like Home Goods these days. You can find them anywhere they sell like laundry stuff. I've tried the plastic ones. They make little plastic they look like a porcupine. In my experience, those were the first ones I tried. In my experience, they don't last all that long. The little teeth tend to break off. So just get the wool ones. They last forever. I think the set that we've got, we have to have had them for 10 years or so now. And they get used multiple times a week. So, if you add up what we would have spent in dryer sheets or in fabric softener, we've saved hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Anyway, that's my PSA for the week. So I had this listed for $39. This is another one of my repeat buyers. My sidekick had sent her out an offer for $34. She sent one back for $25. I had this for a little while. It is an extra small, so just kind of a tougher size to move out the door. But she sent me an offer for $25, which I accepted. This was a bins find for $1, and my profit on that ended up being $19. Super happy about that. And my final item here is this beautiful, I believe this is hemp shirt from Poetry. If you have not found Poetry before, if you've not seen it, it's definitely a Bolo brand. Their stuff is very expensive. This was probably a good $120 t-shirt. Look at that beautiful tuck work on the front, the pin tucking. I just think everything that they have is so beautiful. This is like soft surroundings plus. But all their tech, they're just known for their ultra soft textiles, really beautiful construction quality. So Poetry, Bolo brand for sure. So this one I actually had for sale for $48. Like I said, they sell pretty high. And I think this is one of the nicer like t-shirt type tops I've had from them before. I've had other ones that are, they feel slightly less quality, but like not by much. But This one I had for sale for $48. And my Posh sidekick had sent out an offer for $43. And I got a counter offer for $38, which I accepted. Now this one had a slightly higher cost. This one was $4.89 from my local Salvation Army, which brought my profit to $25.51. And again, it's just like a little cautionary tale of, you know, do what you can to keep those costs low, because it really does add up. You know, if I had, you know, the difference between what we have 14, 15 shipments here, if these were all $5, that's, you know, it's $150 cost instead of $15. That's a significant difference. But again, this is a repeat buyer, and I know she loves poetry. She's bought a couple pieces of poetry from me before. I had this for about 2 months in the shop, so happy to move it along its way. And out it goes. But that is it, guys. That's all the shipments for today. I want to thank you so much for hanging with me while I'm getting my work done. It's kind of nice to have people to talk to. And again, apologies for the echoiness. We are in my dining room. It's the only place that I can really get this like field of vision. But if you had fun, if you liked what you saw, please don't forget to give this video a like. It's super, super helpful with YouTube. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. I'd love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, have a fantastic weekend. Happy hunting, and I'll see you in the next one.